Los Angeles, the city of dreams, holds many secrets within its sprawling landscape. But few locations are as shrouded in darkness and mystery as the infamous Cecil Hotel. For decades, this downtown landmark has been a silent witness to some of the city's most tragic and unsettling events. It is a place where the transient and the hopeful cross paths, often with grim consequences. In 2013, the Cecil Hotel became the epicenter of a mystery that would capture the world's attention. The case involved a young Canadian student named Elisa Lam, whose disappearance from the hotel sparked a frantic search and a global wave of speculation. Her story began as a solo adventure, but it ended in a way that no one could have ever predicted. Before she became the subject of a global mystery, Elisa Lam was a bright and adventurous 21-year-old student from Vancouver, British Columbia. She was embarking on a solo trip across the west coast of the United States, San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Cruz, San Francisco. This trip was more than a vacation. It was a chance to document her adventures. In the 21st century, our stories are often told through our digital presence, and Elisa Lam was no different. Her blog was a window into her mind. She shared thoughts, fears, observations about fashion and literature. She reflected on loneliness and anxiety. On January 26, 2013, Elisa arrived in Los Angeles and checked into the Cecil Hotel. She was assigned to a shared hostel-style room. After complaints from roommates, staff moved her to a private room. Her social posts continued after she arrived. She visited a bookstore and shared impressions of the city. Her posts showed highs and lows, moments of excitement mixed with solitude. The last day anyone saw Elisa Lam alive was January 31, 2013. She was at the last bookstore buying books and music to take home as gifts. The staff remembered her as cheerful and outgoing. Later that day, she returned to the Cecil Hotel. From that point, her movements become shrouded in mystery. Her daily calls home suddenly stopped. That silence was the first alarm bell in a case that would soon become a chilling enigma. 2 weeks after Elisa Lam vanished, with no leads and growing public pressure, the Los Angeles Police Department made a critical decision. They released a piece of evidence that would transform the case into a viral internet phenomenon. This was the last known footage of Elisa, captured by a security camera in one of the Cecil Hotel's elevators. The grainy, silent video contains a sequence of events so bizarre and unsettling that it continues to be analyzed and debated to this day. The video begins with Elisa entering the elevator. She pushes a series of buttons. She presses herself into the corner as if hiding from someone. When the elevator doors fail to close, she cautiously peeks her head out into the hallway, looking quickly from side to side before retreating back inside. Her movements are strange and erratic. She steps in and out of the elevator, sometimes appearing to be talking or gesturing to someone just out of the camera's view. At other moments, she seems to be playing a strange game of hide-and-seek with an unseen pursuer. One of the most disturbing parts comes when she stands in the doorway and gestures with her hands in a strange, almost unnatural way. Her fingers are splayed and she seems to be counting, but her audience, if there is one, remains a mystery. After these frantic gestures, she walks away to the left, and that is the last time she is ever seen on camera. Shortly after she leaves, the elevator doors, which had mysteriously remained open for minutes, finally close. When January 31st passed without the customary daily phone call from Elisa, her parents knew immediately that something was wrong. It was completely out of character for their daughter to break contact. They contacted the Los Angeles Police Department to report her missing. The search for Elisa Lam was on. The LAPD began their investigation at the Cecil Hotel, scouring the building from top to bottom. They searched her room and combed through the hotel's hallways. They brought in scent-sniffing dogs, but the dogs reportedly lost her scent near a hotel window that led to a fire escape. Despite their extensive efforts, the initial search yielded no clues. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. As days turned into weeks, the search expanded to the surrounding neighborhood. Police canvassed Skid Row, a rough area of downtown Los Angeles. They interviewed hotel staff and guests. They put up missing person flyers with Elisa's smiling face. Her family flew down from Canada to make public appeals for her safe return. Nearly 3 weeks after Elisa disappeared, guests at the Cecil Hotel began to complain about low water pressure and strange, dark-colored water. For several days, these were treated as routine maintenance issues. Maintenance staff were sent to investigate. Their attention turned to 4 large water cisterns on the roof that supplied water to the guest rooms. On the morning of February 19th, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez went to the roof to inspect the tanks. The roof was restricted, accessible only through a locked door with an alarm. He reached the massive tanks and noticed a main hatch open. He climbed a ladder to peer inside, expecting a pump issue. Instead, he found the naked body of a woman floating face up in the dark water. The body was soon identified as Elisa Lam. She had been in the tank for 19 days, decomposing just meters above guests who were unknowingly drinking and bathing with contaminated water. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office conducted an autopsy, and the results only added to the confusion. The final report listed her official cause of death as accidental drowning with her bipolar disorder as a significant condition. The report found no evidence of physical trauma, sexual assault, or foul play. It indicated she had been taking her prescribed medication but possibly not in the correct dosages. This official ruling did not sit well with many people who had been following the case. The theory of accidental drowning seemed to defy logic. The water tanks were nearly 10 feet tall and difficult to access. A person would need to get onto the locked roof, climb a ladder, and somehow lift a heavy hatch. Another prominent theory focuses on Elisa's mental health. Her family confirmed she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. It is possible she was experiencing a severe psychotic episode, which could explain her bizarre behavior in the elevator. In this state of paranoia or delusion, she might have believed she was being pursued and sought refuge in the water tank. This theory suggests her death was a tragic consequence of a medical condition rather than a crime. Despite the official findings, the theory of foul play has never fully disappeared. Some speculate that someone else was involved, chasing her to the roof or forcing her into the tank. The strange behavior in the elevator could be interpreted as her interacting with a pursuer just out of the camera's view. Proponents point to the difficulty of accessing the tank and closing the lid as evidence she could not have done it alone. To understand the public's fascination with this case, one must look at the grim history of the Cecil Hotel. Long before Elisa checked in, the Cecil had earned a reputation as one of Los Angeles's most cursed locations. Opened in 1924 as a grand hotel for business travelers, it fell on hard times during the Great Depression. Over the decades, it devolved into a budget hotel attracting a clientele living on the fringes of society. Its halls became a silent witness to countless tragedies, including suicides, murders, and unexplained deaths. In the 50s and 60s, it was known as a place where people would jump from windows to their deaths. One woman, Pauline Otten, landed on a pedestrian below, killing them both. Pigeon Goldie Osgood was found brutally murdered in her room in 1964, a case that remains unsolved. Perhaps most infamous is the hotel's link to two of America's most notorious serial killers. In the mid-80s, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, reportedly stayed at the Cecil during his murder spree. He would allegedly discard his bloody clothes in the hotel's dumpsters before heading to his top-floor room. Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger also stayed at the Cecil in 1991, choosing it because of its connection to Ramirez. This long and sordid history created a powerful narrative around the hotel. It wasn't just a building, it was a character in the story. When Elisa Lam disappeared, her story was immediately woven into this dark tapestry. The unsettling elevator footage and macabre discovery seemed like a modern chapter in the Cecil's grim saga. For many observers, it was impossible to separate Elisa's fate from the hotel's legacy of death and despair, leading some to wonder if the place itself was somehow malevolent. Years after her tragic death, the story of Elisa Lam continues to resonate, leaving us with a profound sense of unease. The official explanation of accidental drowning linked to her bipolar disorder provides a logical, if heartbreaking, conclusion. It paints a picture of a young woman in the throes of a severe mental health crisis, whose distorted reality led her to unimaginable danger. However, for many, this explanation feels incomplete. The lingering questions about her final hours refuse to go away. How did she gain access to a locked rooftop? How did she climb into the massive tank and close the heavy lid from within? The strange behavior in the elevator still feels deeply unsettling, like a scene from a horror film. These unanswered questions have provided fertile ground for endless speculation, allowing doubt to fester. The facts seem to be at odds with the physical realities of the scene. The mystery is amplified by the hotel's own sinister reputation. The Cecil Hotel is not just a building, it is a nexus of tragedy. Elisa's story, with its bizarre elements, fits so perfectly into the hotel's dark lore that it feels almost pre-written. This convergence of a vulnerable individual, bizarre circumstances, and a historically grim location creates a perfect storm for a modern ghost story. It blurs the line between tragic accident and something more sinister, leaving us to wonder if there were other forces at play. Ultimately, the case of Elisa Lam may be a story with no satisfying conclusion. We are left with a collection of disturbing facts, a haunting final video, and a deep sense of sorrow for a young life lost. Perhaps the most important takeaway is the human element, a bright, adventurous young woman whose journey ended tragically. Her story serves as a chilling reminder of our own vulnerabilities and the terrifying reality that some mysteries remain locked away forever. What do you think really happened to Elisa Lam? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of modern history's most perplexing cases. If you found this exploration compelling, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. And let us know in the comments below, what mystery should we explore next?